So today we're going to be talking about things that we can do outside of the poem to help us understand it. So we've spent some time doing analysis, trying to pick apart the poem from the inside. But there are other ways to kind of understand something about the poem. So, for example, when I see Langston Hughes at the top of the page and I know I'm about to read one of his poems, whether I've read it a dozen times, whether I haven't encountered it before, I know enough about Langston Hughes to know that it's going to be about social justice. It's going to be something that's both personal and universal, because I know something about Langston Hughes, right? Specifically, that he was a major writer during the Harlem Renaissance, and I know what that time period is. So this strategy, which we call old historicism, is simply looking into the history of the poem and really the history of the author and what's going on at the time, right? So I talk about Langston Hughes. We've read the poem Harlem in here before, so this is a perfect example of what is the Harlem Renaissance. Well, it's a rejuvenation of African American spirit in New York and Harlem. It's a time where a lot of new voices are coming out. People of color, specifically black people, are coming out and requesting justice, right? They're saying it's been too long since emancipation. We're supposed to have equality in this country. It's not happening, right? And here's the expressive voice that is going to create a movement. So Hughes is one of the biggest voices in that movement. Just because I know those couple things, it's going to help me to not miss his big ideas when I read his poems, right? I know they're going to be infused with these concepts. And that's what old historicism kind of does. It requires that we go to do some research, right? And we've talked about how to do research in this class before. How to do research for a purpose, right? And so here the purpose is to help understand about a poem, right? And it's not to give an analysis about a poem. That's different. I could look up and kind of hear what other people have to say the poem means. I don't really like that approach at all. I'd rather do it myself and do all the thinking myself and kind of at least be responsible for my own answer, right? But the history part kind of says, well, where might we want to go, right? So Wikipedia is honestly a great place to go. Yeah, all the information might not be 100% reliable, but just to kind of get a sense for who this person was, it's a really good resource. Again, I don't think I even need to go to the databases because that's where I'm going to get to poetry analysis. And I don't really need poetry analysis. I'm doing that work myself. So that's what old historicism is. I want you to take the poem that we're looking at and do some investigation on the poet, and then look at how is this helping me understand the poem.